Okay, good morning, everybody. This is the Professor with Day Trading for Success. We are back after yesterday's afternoon debacle. I'll give us an update on that, and then we'll be start to begin live trading again here at around 9:30. I probably am going to take a trade at the open, but again, as always, I don't advise that. What we're really doing here is we're trying to create a range, a high and a low, on any large cap or mega cap stock over a $25 billion market cap. And then we're trading off that ceiling high and floor low. Basically, we want to go long off the floor and short off the ceiling. And these ranges might only last a few seconds or a few minutes. So we are always staying vigilant as to marking these based on historical data, stuff that has happened from 1 minute ago to a year ago, historical data. Although right now, setting the levels is very difficult in this market because usually with large caps, you don't have to worry about news catalysts much unless it's specifically about that stock, and then we would care about it, and we probably wouldn't trade it. See, it's set at 400 from yesterday afternoon's debacle there. Now we're in a little bit of an issue here, and I'm having difficulty trading this last week or so of the month, and basically the whole month's been a little bit more difficult. So what we're going for this month on this channel, our challenge was to make the average mortgage payment, which is $2,200 a month, and we're doing okay on that. We've passed that even with my third losing day this month. Actually, let me check the latency on this. So it's like about 5 seconds. I hope that gets better as we move on through the morning. I'll give you an update on what analysts think about some of the stocks we might be trading today, too. I also have Benzinga news up for the big stories, and that looks something like this, extra big, so I can see it far away on my other screen over here. I have 6 screens around me, okay? And then I have the unlinked news on Thinkorswim. We're trading on Thinkorswim, just set on the SPY so we can look at the stories, right? And then I have the linked news over here for the specific stock, linked to the green here, whatever I'm on, so I can read. So I have 3 different things that I wish I didn't have to read. Normally I don't. That's the beauty about this strategy, which is basically a range-bound strategy brought right down into the micro, which we now are calling strike and recoil. Like when the price strikes a certain direction, like a snake striking, you hit the opposite. You try to make money on the recoil, because most of the time they will recoil a portion. They won't just keep striking, and then you get into what we call a trend, probably a short-term trend. So you want to be careful if that starts to take off to have a maximum loss per trade, maximum loss per day. Remember, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. You should always seek the advice of someone. You can watch me trade here, but I'm not telling you how to trade. Even if I say we should do this, that's not what I mean, okay? So I also have Zoom crowd here, as well as the stream crowd coming in. So you guys need to do your own due diligence. Be responsible for your own things. I can't give you advice. But it's fun to watch other traders trade, and I know that's why you're here. It's fun to watch me lose as well as win. So I'm going to go over that a little bit because my ego's a little bruised on my accuracy, because my accuracy has been very, very consistently, mid 80% to 90%, and many days 100%. So, and you don't normally hear that because of the way, and it's not because people can't trade that accurate. It's not because I'm something that special or anything. It's because the style of trading they do does not lend itself to be that accurate, because they can't call they're not able to call where the price is going to be as accurate as this style of trading can do. And also with indicator driven trading. So what is an indicator? Again, just briefly, any indicator you see on a screen, no matter how fancy and how many labels or whatever the person says it's doing, it's all based on data that's just happened before at some period of time. And they're quantifying in some way on that data that's just happened before. That's all anybody has. That's all we have. You can look at the fundamentals of a company, obviously, and think because they're creating this widget, it's going to go here. That doesn't work too well with scalping, which is what we're doing, right? I mean, you can get an overall bias, and we're going to talk about that with a few stocks. I'm going to try to cram in a lot of information here in the next 19 minutes. But basically, we're trading off historical data. And I've been having to include news catalysts, which can completely skew the historical data because you're trying to have something repeat, which is what indicators are trying to pick up. Like, hey, this did this before, so your relative strength is it's being overbought or oversold, or your EMA, your estimated moving average was here and now it's here, so this should probably happen. No. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with news catalysts, the probably is out the window. And what has been so good for years now, way back when day trading volume 1 came out, is that that large caps are for the most part predictable based on historical data. More predictable than not. Nothing's always, obviously, nothing, and if your levels don't pan out, then delete them off the screen and say to yourself, maybe this isn't a good stock to trade today, right? Which I should have said a couple times yesterday. But I've been trying to battle this news catalyst market where every little, fart, pardon my language, that comes out of the White House changes the way the market goes. And it's absurd, really. I'm a little angry about it, quite frankly. I should talk to a therapist, maybe. Yesterday, I did talk to myself, and I did have and thank you for all the kind comments that came through, because when you do have a bad day, you need those comments, and it was really nice to hear them all, because you guys know I trade with much larger share size, but, it's about the accuracy, right? So it was depressing, so those comments were very nice, but, yeah, I forget what I was going to say there, but it's very difficult to call in this market. And let's take a look at what I have been doing. So we got a couple things. So first of all, we'll talk about the update. So now yesterday I lost like nearly $400, and the day before I made $300 and it didn't register, or $200. And so it seems like getting the reporting from Charles Schwab immediately is not really working too well when I tried to bring it over. I know they had their site down a little bit, so it seems like what it did is it took the winnings from the 25th and applied them to the 26th. But anyway, overall, the data is correct. I did a quick math check, and that's where we're at, 2,700 for the month. We were only going for 2,200. But that was a $400 loss, right around $400 yesterday. Not 189 like it says. So that was my worst loss of the month, and it was depressing. And the week is actually red. I can't remember that ever happening to me in a long time. I'm not trying to sound egotistical. It's just with this strategy, I get saved from those kind of momentum style or guessing style trades. You're dealing in probabilities. And if you line enough of them up like you've seen me do, the probability is you're going to have a good trade. And then it just comes down to mentally your share size. Can you wait out the supposed move that you see based on the indicators? Or are you panicking and you're not able to do it and you're getting out too soon or too late because your share size is causing you to react in a way you shouldn't, and then you get hijacked. I think I got a little hijacked yesterday because I was short on time trying to get back on green. Really wasn't good trades. There weren't good setups, and I think I said it. And I just went for it. And then, now you're just rolling the dice, and the dice didn't roll in my favor. So it's just like, it's just stupid. I even said, this is stupid, and I did it anyway. So yes, we can all be stupid. So is it still hijacking when you know you're hijacking? I think it is. I think you're hijacked. So that's what this is. And then this is the overall data, though, which is, there's the 3 red days are clearly on there, as you can see top left. But if you look at the overall accuracy, even though Yesterday I lost money. My green, there were more green trades than red trades. As you can see, I had a good accuracy level there. So the top is 100%, the middle's 50%. I think my lowest, I can't scan over that and have it highlighted because it's a picture, but my lowest was 42% the third day in the month. And I think I'm averaging, in the 80 percentile as usual overall. So, it's not too bad. And that's because of the strategy, and then years and years of being able to follow the strategy. Yesterday wasn't one of those days, but, overall. So that's what we have been doing. Again, to mention, if you're wondering about the clock up here, that's going to be available for free at the $1 Million Margin Club sometime over the weekend. Alan's he's been acquired by a different company. They saw his talent, and instead of trading in the studio here, now he is elsewhere. And but he comes and works in here with us on the weekends, and he's going to work with the $1 Million Margin Club and get this available for free over there. So if you're interested in this, okay. So now let's get into today. So over here I have the custom scanners up, and we can see what's being highlighted today on our consolidation one, the same old suspects up here. So we'll get a look. The idea with this strategy, like I said, ceilings, floors, I'm going to probably trade something at the open, which is totally unadvisable to do unless you're following like a breakout strategy like in Day Trading Volume 4, which has the 4 breakout strategies that are most commonly used. But even that would be idiotic in this news-driven market right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at a probable support level and see if whatever stock I choose dips down there, and then try to go long. Although probably I should be going short. I'm looking at I should trade something short bias, maybe look for a possible uptick and then grab it short. Right now the SPY and the Q are both falling. I have this up on my right so I can just get an overall. This is on a 1-minute chart, so we'll see what happens. It looks like the Q is about to rest on the most valued ATR level, half. SPY too. They're both going down to the half ATR. Let's see if that stops them. Again, it's really hard to trust this historical data right now. Reading the news, Benzinga news is up with nothing really big. Let's see the SPY overall news on Thinkorswim. Exchange traded funds at 9:17 a story came out. Futures lower pre-bell on Friday, that's today. So we're expecting things to go down overall. So on the analyst ratings here for the stocks we normally trade, really these are set for, somebody asked me this yesterday, and it's not a day biased on the analysts are figured on mostly 12 months. So the 12-month target, now this is taking the 5 top analysts and giving you a range, okay? NVIDIA is between $900 and $1,200 target. So they are a buy, my friends, right now, if you can weather the storm, because it might go down more. So just go in low and then scale up would be the advice I would do. I can't give you advice, but something I would do. Micron Technology, believe it or not, is only between $70 and $110. So, wow. Was that way overpriced? Maybe. Tesla between $250 and $400, although I've heard people say that's going to be in the thousands. But, this is what the top 5 analysts are saying. Amazon we might look at today between 180 and 240 for the year. Apple is 190 to 240. So that's one that, no, that's right. No, they're at 250 something now, right? Yeah. AMD 180 to 260, Oracle 130 to 180. And that's the top 5 analysts over a 12-month period. That's about the only thing I'm willing to share as far as a bias right now because of how weird everything is. Now you'll be seeing me trade on a 1-minute chart if you've tuned in this morning. And I do have a range. This is an average range. All these indicators are available at the $1 Million Margin Club. There's my plug. I have them. You can under the information of this video, I have them linked, and if you get them there, that helps me if you go through my link. And so are the best books that I like. Okay, that's all on that. So this comes in two different ways. This is the last 5 candles or the last 12 candles, gives an overall smoothed average, and then gives you a target going up or a target going down once you get in your trade. And then this one, the Scalp Pro Meter, helps you get in the trade by judging the volume and the strength of it inside the candle. So you can see the buyers and the sellers. Now this is pre-market, so you can't really trust anything, but so that's why this indicator is so good. Also on this chart, you'll see that it's showing when all these other time frames close, when people trade on different time increments. And then I've split it up so you can see it over here. Like everything's green right now, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. And then the overall breadth of the market, the QQQ, the SPY, the SMH, what are they doing? Now this is set for a 5 minute increment. This is obviously on a 5 minute chart, but these are the increments of the time frame. So that's there. And if you go deeper into this, you can see I have the 9 and the 20 EMA. I have the VWAP, of course, the SMA, which is set for the day, even though it's on a 1 minute chart. 50, 100, 200 are here. There's the candle range tracker we was looking at. It also has the MACD. These are all made for prop firms so that the new traders, and believe me when I tell you, so do the experienced traders use these. It just has an arrow, and you're not having to read all this data. So rather than having all these screens up and trying to continually look, basically it's just going to say the MACD says up or down. It's the same way you would end up reading it, right? It also has the RSI, which is the buy-sell oscillator, and that's going to give you an arrow. The market magnet, I can explain more when we're trading it, but that's based on the volume profile. And then we talked about the multi-chart alignment. You'll see the whole and half dollar light up the screen every 50 cent, and whole dollar will have a thin gray line that goes across. It makes the chart look pretty busy, but it is a psychological level we want to watch when we're trying to line sort of the perfect trade up. And then this is the triple ATR. So you're going to have the full ATR based on Wilder's 14-day average. It's going to show you the highest they expect it to go, the lowest, but it's also going to have the half and the quarter level. Those are both actually more respected, particularly the half, than the whole ATR as far as you're trying to see where other traders might trade and then follow them in the short term. You're not trying to see what traders might do on the long term because they're 95% wrong. But on the short term, we have the crowd to go by, and we just move quick with them. Not like the lines at the airport. It's just quick with them, and then get in and get out. So that's what this is on this chart. And then, when I open up the day chart, it does have those ATRs listed. There's the SMA, so you can get an overall look of how things are just going down. It's on any stock you go on. But this one right here is really important, and you'll see it over here too. This is telling me what is the average volatility, what is the average volume of a 1 minute candle, average of a 1 minute candle. So we want it to be definitely over 50,000. Over 100's even better, which all these will be. And then we know we get the up and down liquidity to get in and out on the strike and recoil, right? And any kind of real scalping. So normally you look over at this, an ask or a bid, and you would see how fast is that moving in when you count to like 10 or 15. Is it moving 10 or 15 cents? If it is, then most likely you can trade that stock with this particular type of strategy. So guys, I only have a few minutes to look to see what I might want to trade and what is for sure going to go down, because I think I will go short biased. I see the SPY and the Q are ticking up, bump fisting. So let me just see for a second. AMD just continues to hold. It's not falling like the others. It's 202 right now. NVIDIA started to go up and then fell back down. What does that look like right now? Yeah, so this went up a minute ago, and then now it's back down again. Has a low of 169. God, what a buy. What a buy that is. Jeez. I'd be afraid to do Tesla. It's even more unpredictable than the unpredictable market right now. So for fun, I guess, what would I bet against? God, I want to go long on all these. I just can't help it. They're so low. I would be afraid to go short on these stocks. So I guess I will go with Apple again. It's going to be the one of the slower moving ones at the open. And I got to make a decision, or I'm just not going to trade the open, which may be wise. Let me see what we've got here on the 5-minute real quick. So there's our pre-market levels already showing. So see how it went up already? Ooh, boy. Those levels I don't want to keep anymore, so let's get rid of those. Do we have anything that very recently... Oh, it's giving me trouble. No, come on. Oh, it's frozen. I hope they're not all frozen. No, this isn't, thank goodness. So I'll look at this. So I'm going to mark sort of a support level down here. 252. If it dips, I'll go short off the ATR up here. And that's what I'm going to do. I have 2 minutes to do something. I'm going to keep the share size at 50. And we're kind of right in the middle of everything. Now, you'll see the pre-market levels pop in here along with the $1.50 and really muck up the chart, but I'm okay with that. I know what I'm looking at. So, I mean, this is about to take off into the stratosphere. So, again, it's not advisable to trade what I'm about to do, but this is my one moment to not trade logically unless I'm being hijacked. My one recapture of my professional gambling days. Yes. Do you want to follow somebody that used to be a professional gambler in Vegas? Right here. So maybe you should tune out immediately. So, let's see. Just trying to make sure everything's set. I kind of came in here more last minute this morning without any prep. Excuse me, guys. Good luck to everybody today. Let's see if our latency's picked up at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, 7 seconds. That's terrible. I hope it gets better, guys. Anyway, go green today. Be careful. Stick to your max loss. You can observe me, but don't do as I do. Please. It's too much pressure. All right. Here we go. We'll go short off this and long off down by anywhere near the 252. I'll go long. That's way down there, so we won't see that. But up there, 255 is very close to go short off of. And I might end up holding it for a while if it shoots right up, or scale into up to 100 shares. But it's just sort of sitting here. This is actually, high for Apple, how it's been the last few days anyway. I'm actually going to go in below that level, see if I get picked up. I got picked up. All right. I was just realizing that it has been playing much lower than this lately. So unless today is going to be a real up day, let's see. Lower futures. More dropped as Trump pushes Iran. I heard that 1 million fighters signed up to fight us in Iran. That's not good. If that's actually, wow, I should have got out of that move already. Yeah, $60 trade. So that worked on 50 shares. So not bad. So I'll call it a day. See you guys later. Kind of feel like saying that right now, honestly. I've been so beat up. Now, a prudent person would not touch this again. Am I going to be prudent? I'm going to try to be prudent. What we should be doing is waiting for roughly 9:45 in that area. We get a look to see, are the large caps going to act like they normally do and start to consolidate in a range of a high and low, and then we look for a stock that has that range, ideally that's holding that range in the short run. It's sometimes easier to trade this strategy as time goes on. Like most of you know, the RV strategy, the large cap strategy that most traders trade doesn't even start till 10 a.m. East Coast time. So that's when the big traders believe you get a more readable area based on ATR levels and Fibonacci levels and historical data levels. I'm not going to even attempt to set up Fibonacci right now. I think nature's mathematical formula has killed itself. I think it shot itself in the forest. So I would not trust it right now is what I'm trying to say in my bad humor way. What we can maybe trust, is very short-term data and then keep looking at the news to see if we can pick a bias, right? Everything's red. I can see it if I look at the scanners. So we're going down across the board. SPY's dropped $2. Q's dropped $1. Apple's just 50 cents. Nvidia is even money. Tesla's dropped $3. AMD is pretty much even. MU continues to drop another $5. Palantir dropped $1. I'm looking at the big boys here. Let me just run down the list. But nothing. So what we can do now is watch this and see, is short going to be our bias? And then try to get those channels after the market gets going a bit and all the market orders have shaken out. And now I used to say this with far more confidence, even just a few days ago, than I'm saying it now, because it's not working very well. It's just not working because the news catalyst. So, I don't know of anybody out there. Though I heard a lot of people doing good. I asked let me know how you're doing. A lot of people were green yesterday. So I have mixed feelings about that, because what that means about me. But I'm very proud of you and happy for you that you did green. Way to go. Somebody had mentioned that they did their trades based on the 90-minute, which is interesting. I was going to set that up just to see. I'm always in taking new ideas. It never stops, right? We have an ever-changing market too. So you just listen to everybody and just see, is that just a fluke, or is maybe the 90-minute something to look at in this weird catalyst-driven market, So thank you for sharing that. I did not set up a chart based on that. Maybe I will. But you guys can see if he's on to something, or she. I think it's a he. The gentleman that originally sent me the clock on Python is still sending new updates on that. So we'll take a look at that. Alan will take a look at that and see which one is one of the things I'm just gonna, to make it free, is gonna you have to look at that name at the top, unless you want to go in and change the code. But that gives me my little bit of advertising for working on it for the channel, right? We got to do something, right? So I'm filling up time because I don't want to get into any trades right now. So if you came in late, we made our goal for the month, which was the average mortgage of 2,200. I think even with yesterday's loss, we're still at, I think it was 2,700, right? Is that what it was, guys? Yeah, I made it bigger so I can read it. And then if you were watching it live, the 25th was a $200 day, but it didn't register it. And yesterday was a $400 loss. And Charles Schwab's having trouble. This Trader View is having trouble getting the data and reconcile correctly per day. If you wait a few days, it seems to fix itself. But what it did is it kind of bounced those 2 days, and that is the accurate reading. So $2,700 is where we're at, even though the day readings are not correct. And then the accuracy is pretty good. Here, there's my big 3 red days there, but I'm still running in the 80% accurate. I was more accurate even on the red day. I was at a good accuracy there. So that's where we're at, and that's the strategy. And normally the strategy's better than this. So in this weird market, if we're doing that good, I should be patting myself on the back. I mentioned yesterday, be kind to yourself. And when you're doing bad, and think about what you would say to other people to make them feel good if they had a bad day. You look at the bigger picture. It's not really who you are. You can't quantify one day into everything you've learned. And did you learn something that day? Because if you learned something when you lost, then that's a win in itself. What would you say to these people? That's just logic. And then say it to yourself. Have a conversation with yourself. Do it out loud. They say very intelligent people talk to themselves. I think that just before they're committed. No, I don't know. But I think that, it's a good idea to cut yourself a break. So even I, after many, many years, you tend to forget, and you just look at in the moment like, I suck. I suck worse than gravity. No, I know gravity doesn't actually suck in that way. Please don't send me an email, you science people. But it's an old joke I use. Look at the news again. All eyes back on Apple's AI strategy as 50th anniversary market talk. I wonder if this will, that kind of news will send this up. Of course, I'm on this stock specific for that story. On the major SPY, nothing like that is happening. Everything is red. It broke the ATR it broke the pre-market low on SPY and the Q. And the ATR half is right there. It actually rebounded on the half ATR. Now the ATR half level, guys, is no joke. That's why it's in so many strategies. That's what this red line is here, the thicker one and the thicker one here. You can expect that there's some sort of consolidation or reversal of the way the price has been moving when you get to that level, at least short term. And it might respect it all day long, just bouncing like it's a ceiling or a floor. Have it marked. If you don't already have it marked, there's I have indicators that can do it, or you can just draw it every day. You can calc it. I have so many videos that show you how to calc that. You can just mark it without spending $24.95 for an indicator, although the indicators are way easier. Now this one with the quarter level is not available yet, but the half and the whole and the pre-market levels, because this is one I'm in the middle of developing. Let's see if this quarter sends it back down here. We may have our consolidating stock right here. We're 10 minutes in. Let's see if we get channels here. So it's at the bottom of the market magnet. I said I was going to talk about that, and I will. It's very early, but that's based on the volume profile. Normally you'll see the volume profile readings off to the right of your screen if you just put it in the way that most platforms want you to look at it, and then you'll have like the cliffs and the valleys, or whatever you want to do, where there's liquidity voids or liquidity pools, or where you can see volume and price action have merged, and people use that for more on a 5-minute or larger time frames. On a 1 minute, and this is set for today, not even one day, but today, on a 1 minute, this is going to give you very quick data. See this coming in right here across the, you know, this is volume, price action volume. It just happened right above the magnet. Wow, it broke the level. That's what that alarm was. So it broke the level. So it drew my eyes right to it. And let's see if this is fixed yet. Oh, good. Okay. Let me get a bigger 5 minute here. So our next resistance might be the pre-market high. Boy, I would hesitate to play anything long. I got to tell you, what I want is to find a level of this and to go down. So if it holds this ATR and goes down, then we may have our ceiling. But if it keeps threatening and breaking a little higher, then we have more of sort of a short-term trend happening. Let's look down here at inside, what's happening inside those candles. You know, buyers have been winning pretty much straight across. And one of the ways, if you get used to reading this, is you can see the strength a lot by not just by how the volume increases, but how close is it to the top of that bar. That kind of shows you the strength. Now, as it got higher, the volume went down. So it lost its way up there. It's like there's no oxygen up here. I'm getting a nosebleed. You know, and then the sellers start to take control and start to push it back down again. I really want it to stop up here. And so we have a channel. Let me look at the other one. So coming over here and looking at NVIDIA, it's like almost even within 60 cents of the open. Intel we can't trade. It keeps popping up here, but it doesn't have the liquidity. MU is going up. What's going on? That went up. That's the first in a while. Did it find its bottom? Tesla is down. Amazon is down. Palantir is down. Apple is up. Apple and AMD seem to be holding, you know, a basic level. Let's see here. Where's AMD? Did I miss it? I don't see it on the scanner. Let me look over on my watch list. It's even. Probably not on the scanner because its volume's so low. The Apple has 107 average per minute. So this is good news that it's coming down. It's not going to make me want to go long. Where's our VWAP here on Apple? Is it right there? Oh, here it is. Okay. So it's coming down toward the VWAP. That's where the bulk of the capital is. That could be a support level. Inside the market magnet, which is 50% of the volume range so far. So this is more accurate the further we get into the market. And then there's the mean average of the market magnet. So typically your price action will be drawn to that. I know I was starting to talk about this earlier and I stopped. So as you see these blue volume bars come in, that usually pulls it upward. And then as they come down here, that usually pulls it downward. And then what does that mean as far as trading it? It means that other traders are going to see that probably a minute or two after you, if they don't have the really updated version of this that's made for scalping, and then they will react like, oh, it's going this way. I should, you know, the crowd will then move. So you can get a jump on that usually, and be in a better position. Usually, not always. Doesn't always work. Nothing always works. Remember that. Nothing always works. Let's hope this latency cleans up, guys. I'll try to call out my levels just so you know what I'm thinking. So ahead of time when it gets there. Obviously, if the volume is acting really weird, I might change my mind. But it's starting to consolidate right around this quarter ATR level, which is the second most respected one according to backtesting data for average true range of a stock. Right in a consolidating mode, which is perfect. There's the center pre-market, there's the high pre-market. You know, we're right in, and here's our VWAP. We're right in a predictable, a higher probability of a predictable range. I always have to be careful how I say that because people tend to, you know, well, you said, it's like, I don't know, guys. It's just, what's the probability versus the outcome? Probability and outcome. Line up as many things as you can so that you get an edge in predicting the trade. More news just hit. War wipes out 100 billion from luxury stocks. Iran war wipes out. Okay. Same thing on the main story. Okay, what is this saying about Apple? This came out at 9:44. Cybersecurity stocks slide following Anthropic, Claude, Mythos data leak. Okay, well, we're not trading any of those, so that doesn't matter to us right now. Or maybe you are. Hopefully you got that news. All right, guys, this is really wanting me to go short, I got to tell you, as we get up here. So that range is, I'm going to mark that range just so I can see the price. There's your pre-market high, 54.61 roughly. In this market, Apple going up this much seems like it's calling out a short to me. I'm going to zoom in on the QQQ. It's going up right now. The SPY's going up. You know, wow. I'm good. I went in. So I went in at 67 cents looking for a recoil down. I only have 50 shares. I should have raised the share size. So I shouldn't be looking for the number I was going to look for. I should be more happy with like $5 or $6, which I already had that recoil and I didn't take it. So I missed that trade because I thought I had 100 shares. So I was looking at the price going, get over $10. As it goes, I'm going to hold this as it goes up and think about scaling in to the price. Yeah, the tragic thing about yesterday was a human error too. It wasn't just I had a really good trade. I was pulling out of the hole and I pressed the wrong button. Just keep doing that over the last few weeks. When I have a good trade, I make it a bad trade. And it's just like, you know, I'm trying to get out for a profit and instead I add in more shares. Like, what are you doing? Wow, I'm going to definitely hit it at that. I'm going to go ahead and go in to the 100 shares now. So now I have it very close to the 255, which I thought would be a reversal. Let's see if we get a drawback down now from that $5 level. It broke it, unfortunately for me. And so let's see if maybe things take a turn for the better here or not for my trading. I'm going to do market. If it gets to where I want it, I'll just do it. All right, so that ended up being a good trade. I'm going to keep it at 100 shares. And I didn't get over greedy because I don't know if this is kind of making a move up or not. But it did give us a recoil. Short-term data, guys. That's our key for scalping. That's what scalping's all about. Short-term data. And if you look it up and wherever source you use, you will find that the most common way to become a millionaire these days is by learning scalping if you're trading stocks. You could do the Warren Buffett style, buy and hold for 40 years. Most likely you'll have a lot of money. So if you don't need that money now, you don't just because the market does obviously continually go up. At least that's what it's been doing. So if you're young, stop playing this reindeer game and just make some good investments and hold them and go on about your life. I definitely did that, you know, and now I'm back and I did quite well over time and still hold many long-term positions. And then I come into, because I enjoy this and I enjoy teaching what I figured out. and so that other people can profit. Now, this is a way, if you're in trouble right now, you start to make $100 a day, $200 a day, $500 a day, and make a difference in your life right now. And then you squirrel some of that away for long term, obviously, right? That would be smart. You need to only make between $250 to $270 a day to make the average full income for your average person for a year. Between $58,000 and $67,000 is what the average income is for people. So, that this is life changing. You just even make 100. Look at this coming in. So this is what I was talking about. See the magnet pull up? Now, give it a minute, and it pulled right back down. But most likely, people are going to jump on this. So because of what just happened here. So more buying at this price level, more action buying and selling is happening right in this price level. That's why the magnet averaged up for a second, then popped down. I'm expecting it'll come up and stay up in a minute. So you can see it is going up based on that. Maybe not only on that, but we're also at the 255 level. Here's more coming in. The magnet's going to stay up here because that's just too much volume. Price action at that price. Again, this is just data that's just happened. That's all we have. We don't have the future. Here's the line coming in to predict your future, or telling you your future. It is predicting the future. It's just not telling you your future. It's not already happened. How can I say that the right way? And all of everything I say is in the past as I'm saying it, because it's, that'll mess with your mind. Feel free to shut off the volume when I talk, when I babble. We're over 15 minutes in, and I stayed on this because when I was reading where everything was around the time I would have switched, and it just seemed like Apple was worth staying on for now. So it does look like we want to go short off the 255 level up in here. At this point, it keeps pulling back down. Will it have a floor and go back up again, or will it just break down? See, right now, that there's really the channel is kind of from the 54 to the 55, or the 55.25. If this holds it down here, that's the ATR quarter, and then here's the 54. There's your VWAP. There's a lot to hold it right here, right? You've got the VWAP, a whole dollar. Your moving averages are right down here. Here's your quarter ATR. This is a pretty good support range. If it wasn't such a down market, that's screaming to go long right here. I just want to stay short biased on this stock. It's just the way I'm going to trade it. But the data points say go long on a typical day, on a typical minute, on a typical large cap. That's how you would read that. Like more things are lining up for you to go long. You can see also the sellers lost momentum. See, the volume went down. It didn't even make it to the top. So there was so many things telling you to go long there, and yet I was afraid to do it. I was scared to do it. So now I'm looking for this to get up a little bit above the 55. I will take a market. Let's see if it spikes one more time. Nope. I wanted it to spike up in this area, like in the 20-cent range above it. The market magnet, this is based on the 50% range of the volume, is holding it. There's the RSI sending it down right there. There's the MACD sending it down based on EMA, based on relative strength. So these indicators are, again, adding more to the info to help you choose to go in or out on a very short-term basis. Buyers were really weak going up. See that? This is gonna go down. But it didn't go high enough for me. I was a little worried. Yeah, I'm just gonna get in on the short. I think it's going to go down. I'm just not waiting for the perfect short entry. Here we go. Tried to get it out there on that real quick dip. Should have just done market. Yep, I had a trade and it just didn't do it. Ah, that was not what I wanted. Did that actually go down? I think it only went up $2. That's what it was. Yep, if I just held it a second longer. How many times have you said that? Bump my fist. That's from Hail Mary. Bump my fist. Yeah, it's felt like a Hail Mary mission, right? These days, trading. Jeez. Okay. Data says what? It says go long here. I have to control myself not to take that trade. Would have worked. One of these times it really won't, though. At least that's the theory I'm sticking with. 917 was the latest. Equities lower on the SPY. 944 was about cybersecurity. Benzinga with a wider range. Okay, here we go again. I'll take that. 16. All right, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Now, we may get a breakout here, but I would just add to it and wait for a longer drawdown. But I think it's going to come back off of this ATR half. So we'll get, well, what, I just did it again. Yeah, I just did it again. I pushed the wrong damn button again. And I ended up even, thank goodness. But yeah, I just did it again. I thought I was buying out, but I was adding in position. Dumb. This is what I'm going to start teaching myself, just to flatten instead of market, because I don't have to remember which way. I haven't been getting as much sleep. Okay, there's my excuse. I had guests here, and they're throwing off my whole rhythm here, because of staying up later to entertain and just. I go to bed pretty early, guys, so. A loved one told me, like, you're not getting any sleep. How can you be expected to even trade? Because I'm a machine. That's why. There's my ASMR. Trading today is Apple, like the apple you would eat. Yeah, I'm not even gonna joke about it. I'm done with it. Staying at 255, looking for a spring up to go short. Look for a recoil off that. I'll take it. Okay. All right. I'm going to hover over flatten so I don't get confused. Looking for a recoil down. There we go. That was nice, huh? There you go. Don't tell me how I'm leaving money on the table, guys. What I'm doing is playing the law of averages that you don't really know that it's going to keep going down. An example right there. So I take the profit when I see it and then just do the next trade rather than say just hold it longer. This is not a hold long kind of strategy. Hold for a period of time long, type of strategy. This is a get in and out. Strike, recoil, strike, recoil. Now, if you're just scalping, you might just hold longer for just regular scalping, like 20 seconds longer, not too much longer. And then trend trading, you hold for a long time, different style. It is very important to find your style, what you feel comfortable with. RV trading would have absolutely been holding that longer, but also we wouldn't be trading this stock because of how slow it's going. There's not enough opportunities with 1,000 shares here. You just can't, All right, we're looking again for the dip, but I do have to say I'm getting more worried about a breakout here. So let's do a smoothing level. That's at 18. When it might really break up here. The market is not, though. Q's down, SPY's down. They're having a little reprieve, but they're down. New lows, 638 on the SPY, 566 on the Q. Oh, so the consumer, Michigan consumer expectations were 51.7 versus estimate of 54.1. And the sentiment. So I think that's not good news. I always have trouble reading those, the versus thing. Like, well, what is it? What were they really expecting on that? This one seems this is not one I normally follow. And it's Michigan, not, so I don't know. I started to go for the buy button on a recoil, but I'm not going to do it. I'm saying it out loud more for myself, guys. Got to remember, I want to trade this short. I do not want to go long and get caught. So we're waiting. So far, it's proved to be working with the strike and recoil strategy. More stories just hit at 9:55. U.S. stocks lowers as Brent crude climbs. EU finance ministers tally economic hit of Iran war. Yeah, I mean, the whole world hates Trump right now because of what he's doing to the economy worldwide. So you won't get a lot of Trump lovers out there. Will, in the end, not having a predatory, possible nuclear controlling religious radical regime being gone make everybody happy? I don't know. Obviously, loss of life is tragic, no matter what side of what beliefs or whatever you have. People shouldn't die over it, but I'm not going to get political. I'm starting to get political, but and religious, all in one. Just dig a hole, right? Dig a hole. Early on when I started doing YouTube, and I was warned too, I just said everything, and I got so much hate. I got praise too. Like, first started getting, man, thanks for somebody really saying it like it is. You get a few of those, and then suddenly you get hit with the the hate stuff comes out. Just like, oh my God, I'm not going to go long. I have time to do a text here to somebody I just forgot. Okay. See, that's why I didn't want to go long. All right. Sellers are dying here, but I'm not gonna take a long off that quarter level. I want it to come back up here. I'll go short. And it may be that we are channel hopping and the short is, more like where the magnet is rather than up higher, Fifth losing week in a row. Trump extends Iran negotiations deadline. That's how I end up going political, because I'm reading these headlines. Nothing's really changed on this stock or the SPY news coming out. That's the Benzinga over, which has a wider range of news. I have it. The sources widened just in case, because of this weird environment we're trying to trade in. 36 minutes in. We're near to our goal of 120 for the mortgage goal. Obviously, I'd like to go better after a day like yesterday. Some of you can go long there. I do not have the guts. Instead, I'm thinking about where's my lower short target? Like as it goes back up, maybe I want to scale in and be prepared for it to go up higher, but be in the right position for it to go down. Not miss the trade. It's right at the VWAP. See it resting right at the VWAP there. So if you went off the quarter long, you got to trade there, The quarter ATR, I'm saying. That gave you a trade because that was at 15. You're up 35 cents, $35 if you had 100 shares. Now that is the pre-market high. Those little dots, I put it so I could see the actual price. I wonder if that's going to be the new resistance now. The other thing that's happened is just the volume has just really dropped. It's just dropping. See how the last few minutes. The RV strategy has started. So at 10 a.m., there should have been a spike. It wasn't much in Apple. Not many people jumped on Apple for the big traders that trade the 500,000 and 2,000 shares every few seconds based on that large cap strategy. Which I'm looking at many of them right over here, but they're doing the strike and recoil with me on Zoom. My usual suspects are always just go wherever I go. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to short it up here. There's the magnet level. See if it can push a little higher. Yeah, I heard you complaining. Are you going to come up here and muse? Would you like to muse me for a good trade? That's my part bobcat cat. It's a mix that has learned to not grip my hand when I pet her because she has the 7 toes on every paw that have big bobcat claws. It can really mess you up. I am used to just taking whatever a cat could deliver, like you do it, and getting cut, and I'm okay with it. But then as you get older, it takes longer to heal. It's just not something you want to keep doing. Your endocrinologist would say, "What are you doing? What are you doing, you idiot? You're not 20." I'm going to chew ice. Sorry, I didn't mean to chew it. I mean to get it in my mouth. It just happened. Okay, well, it seems like this is the level, so I'm thinking I'm not going to have any trade if I don't get in it. There it goes. So I'm going to get in it there. So that wasn't as high as I'd been waiting to get in, but I went ahead and did it. I'll get out on a flatten if it gives me enough to... I'm over $100 there, but I'm totally cool with scaling into the 200 shares here. 54 is the resistance on this, it appears. The even dollar. And it broke it for just a second. RSI sending it down. See that red arrow? That's a relative strength saying you're overbought. Kind of wish I would have waited a little longer to get into this trade. But I still think it's going to drop here. Yeah, we're at its high level here. Yeah, 255.37 is the high. I would not add until it got up here to like 40. And that would put me at 54.20, 55.20 range in there. But I'm thinking about it, like what do I do if it goes? I just don't think it's going to go up there. Let's see what happens. I see ya. Help me out here. Send this stock back down. Whoa, huh? That was at, okay, I'm going to do it. 200 shares. I'm at 55.13 now. So I'm like right in this area. Apple drops 6-figure bonuses to stop iPhone talent exodus. Oh my God, that news just came out right then when that happened. That was actually enough to move that. Give me a break. Keeping its talent by offering bonuses. Is that going to send the stock up? Usually large caps just do not react. It's like everybody's grabbing everything, if that's really what just happened there. I usually will look at the news before I scale in, but usually meaning the last few weeks, but I forgot to. It happened so fast, it went up. Didn't want to miss it. And waited out for it to get reclaimed by the VWAP, get reclaimed by this terrible bear market right now. Here it comes. 200 shares. We should get a pretty good trade here. There was 15 bucks. There we go. All right, so we're $3 from our goal. I'm going to lower back down to 100 shares. And it did. Now, remember what I said earlier? This ATR level is the half. It is the most respected level as far as ATRs. And I dare say as far as any intraday level. And that's why it was put in that book years ago, Day Trading Volume 1. It hasn't changed. Wow. Obviously, if I held that, I'd be doing way better. You can't help but punish yourself with that. But nope, it's not what the strategy calls for. Maybe in a bear market it is. I mean, in this weird market. I mean, when you think a company drops 6-figure bonuses, it means they're spending a lot more money, but they're keeping the talent. So it's almost like a wash story, right? Like it shouldn't do anything. So you got this, if it happened at the story, which it seemed to, you got this short-term momentum and people are like, well, that's not really a story. Hey, look how the VWAP's holding it there. In the bottom of the magnet. It's also where the MACD, the convergence divergence, said stop going down. So it could hit again. Nope, it's saying down now. I'm going to wait for it to climb up and go short again off this level if it ever gets up there again. Or reconfigure the high. Like I did here. I got in below the 55, right? Like in the 88 I think I was. But then as it got up, I averaged in and ended up being like at the 14 or something up here. And then as it blew through it, I made the money. So I scaled in, which is what I assumed. There was a part of me assumed I may have to do. I just didn't want to miss the trade if it went straight down. That comes from swing trading. That's where that logic is. You set an entry, whether it be up high or down low, we going short or long. And then as it starts to sputter before it gets to that entry, you just get into the trade in not the best position, planning with less shares, planning to scale in if it keeps going towards your identified support or resistance level entry. That's how experienced swing traders trade, because often you'll miss the trade if you just wait for the perfect. You're not always waiting for the perfect entry. You're waiting for the probability in that an area. You got an area here, not an exact level. You could set the level, on the ask or the bid. I like to control everything. Occasionally you'll see me use the ladder and then go to a different stock. So it just kicks off. Like I was in trouble with AMD, and that kicked off when I wasn't looking and made $90 just the other day, but it was down like $300. But I was just willing to ride it into a swing because the share size that I had I wasn't even using margin power. So I could hold it overnight. I could hold it for a week. I could hold it for 2 weeks, whatever it might be. Large cap, waiting for a retracement, not a recoil. And I fully intended that I might have to do that, but I didn't get greedy. I set it at a mark where, if it gets up here, it's been up here today already, so that's all I need. It wasn't intended to be a swing trade, and it within minutes it just sprang right back up, and picked me up and got me out of a hole. Now you would say that's a terrible. You were down 400 and only made 90. What kind of logic is that? Well, my friends, that's trading. This whole 2-to-1 thing, throw it out the window. It's designed to protect you. Can you actually do it day after day? Here's what it is. It's like, that is a fantastic idea. It is a fantastic idea to only risk half of what you're going for. If you get the trades, you will be a millionaire. If you get the trades. The trades don't present themselves. So if you're always following that, you're not going to have many trades to take, right? So it's all about the number of trades, and then if your accuracy is high enough, then you know that you're going to do well that way. You don't need the whole 2-to-1 thing, but it does protect you. So you have to be able to control yourself, obviously. You have to, but I'm willing to go deep, and I have a deep into the red because I have a secondary logic that I'm trading large and mega caps, and I'll go deep into the red when I'm going long, not short. I don't like to go deep into the red when I'm going short. Going long, I have a pretty high expectation within a period of time it will come and get me out of that hole. Sometimes it's within minutes. Other times it might be a week or two. You've seen me trade them both. And I don't want to say always do, but the large cap and mega caps consistently retrace. I didn't want to go long, guys, so I'm just sitting here talking to you, but hopefully giving you some sort of information that's usable for your trading journey based on somebody who has won and lost for years. Here's an interesting story. How to trade SPY QQQ, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Google, Meta, Tesla using technical analysis. Wow. I definitely want to read that to see what, whoever put that story out is saying. Good morning, traders. Benzinga News. That's who it is. Let's see. I'm sure it's going to be the same old that I don't really believe. Yes. I'll have to read that later. It's a long story. Interesting, though. I like that it's even out there so I can add it to my knowledge. Enough people read it might make it come true because they're going to, make it happen. Whoa. So that's where I got in before. I'm waiting for a little. Oh, man, I probably should have just done it. I already had the recoil there. Wow. It's just the way that went up. Is there a new story? unless that advice is saying to trade it off the half ATR. I'm sure it's not. They use the word technical analysis, which is interesting. What they mean by that, long term, probably a year. Okay, I'm gonna take that. So 28. Now that was a good level just a few minutes ago. Yeah, 130. So that was cool for the 100 shares. Again, it would have made me more if I held it. So I'm going to keep going short and waiting for it to hit up here with more confidence that it will give me an opportunity to get out. Not overstay my welcome. Just take 10, 20, 30 bucks. Just, and I'm not going to go long down here no matter how many times it's doing the ceiling floor thing like we normally trade it. At any moment I feel like it could drop $2 on some weird story. Paratroopers land into, Iraqi nest of landmines or something, something horrible. I do feel like the paratroopers are about to land. Trump seems to have this thing to lull his enemies by acting like negotiations and delays are happening, and then all the while the timeline has been set for the ground troops, boots on the ground, and never changed. And it's a decent strategy if you're going to attack. That's how the Japanese were in Pearl Harbor. If you read any history, we had no chance. Negotiations were going on that they would do such a thing. I wouldn't say there was no chance, but look at that. See, that's why, and it broke the VWAP too, why I won't go long down here. Is there a new story? No. $10.16 was a story. The S&P 500 hasn't had this bad of a time since 2022. I remember having a conversation with COVID doom, actually young people, college age people, saying, what's the point of having a baby? What's the point of the whole world's falling apart? Now, if you've been through, obviously COVID was really unique and horrendous, but if you've been through so many cycles of terrible news, somewhat similar, it's like you're not going to let that make you become suicidal, right? But it's literally quite a lot of people that felt there was no point, that, it was too late for us and all that. And my advice to them was, I said, I love COVID for this reason. We get to step up. Have you ever looked back and thought, God, I wish I was there to join that fight, to join that movement? This is it, guys. This is it. You have to turn this around. Be the best you can be of yourselves. Not like it's all over, No. And then I remember somebody I really cared about said, do you really feel that way? I said, I feel like we're in a time where we get to shine. Let's do it, So that's how I really felt about COVID. And of course it did turn around, and, we're a resilient species, So, and I believe it always will. That's just my attitude. And there's so many times I wish I could have been in the past to be part of that. Like I feel cheated, like Henry V, right? You'll hold your manhood cheap that you were not here to fight with us on St. Crispian's Day. I don't think I got it right, but something like that. And I'm a Shakespeare lover, I particularly love Henry V. And so that was in my brain. Like, I'm sure that was part of it. Like, we want to be here to fight. We don't want a boring. And that's not the way I trade, though. Obviously, I look for a consolidating. We want a boring stock. So wow. I was just thinking about that. Like, what a hypocrite in as far as, but you know what I mean, right? Now, my guests are listening to me that are visiting, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this very thing later. You said that out loud? You embraced COVID? It's like, yeah, sorry, it's the way I felt. I was worried. I didn't want to get it, no question, but I wasn't going to make me be suicidal and all doom and gloomy. It was going to be like, fight. Let's go. Let's fix this. Let's go, guys. Come on. 100%. Work together. That was the other thing. Like everybody, even though you couldn't get within 6 feet, but you were I love the fact that the world was working for the same goal, right? I mean, that to me was uplifting, those things in the midst of the horrible amount of death that was happening. So yeah, different side of a coin to look at things. I actually think I made an impact with a tiny handful of people, which is nothing, but maybe they spread that. Who knows? It's the ripple effect. One little statement can go a long way sometimes. The butterfly effect, that's what I was looking for. You never know. I personally stopped COVID, clearly. That's what will happen in a couple of years. I'll look back and go, well, I remember how it all turned based on a conversation I had. Why did that come up? Oh, the 20 market hasn't been this bad since 2022. That's why I started talking about that. Looking at news stories, guys. Nothing very stock specific, but a lot of other news is coming out on Benzinga, World News. U.S. natural gas futures gain. That's interesting. Well, have we got a new ceiling here? A new place to go short? Right above the VWAP? That would be cool. Where did this level come from? Did I mark that today? Yes, I did. Why did I mark that? That doesn't look too... It's not marked here at all. Is it on a 5-minute? Is that just a smoothing level? You got to be careful, like it's a short-term level. Yeah, I mean, right there, it's a pre-market. It's a pre-market high. That's what it is. I'm like, why did I mark that? So that is, well, we made our goal here in the studio. It's getting near time where I have to go to the next session. I was hoping we might get another trade up here. I think sticking with the Apple worked well. It was easy to call, in my opinion, like the old days. Will it continue to be easy as you trade this morning? Now, Friday afternoon, I'm not sure I can come back on this afternoon because I do have guests here and we are going out. But I'll see if I can do something. But since it's now consolidated below where we were assured a short, you have to reassess, is the pre-market high our new shorting level? So if you're wrong, it could be a buck off. So you want to adjust your share size accordingly so you could scale in if you're wrong. But it does seem that it's going to be, it's hanging around the VWAP here. Whoa, NVIDIA's down to 167. I'm going to add to my swing soon on that one. I think I have it at 179. I just don't want to, I want it to go even lower, right? And then I'll double my share size. And okay, let's see if it falls off this again. It seems to be, forget about the price line. It's the pre-market high that it's respecting right here. That just gets you a price to look at, like what is it on my level 2, so you can see. Well, I still look at this even though these shares rarely would affect the movement of a Large cap. Remember, you know, almost 60% of this is hidden from you, so you don't even get to really see what's happening. But what I do watch is I watch the way the price swales, you know, and I'll go like eight levels deep to see, is there a big gap? That's the way I read it on large cap. Like, what's the gap between here and here? That's 76 cents, right? So that was 26-cent gap, right? So that's where there's sort of a gap in amount of shares waiting. So I'll look at that 26 cents and I'll calc it and put it into my my movement here. And so it's not the dominating stat that I look at. It's just one more. So if this falls off here again, guys, seems to be getting very respectable. Let's see if it actually falls off this again. Let me do a smoothing level right above it. So you kind of say, if you evened it out, it's kind of stopping, you know, went higher than 54.70, but kind of you could expect it to go there and go short. But if it breaks up toward the magnet, then we have a wider channel. But there it goes. It stopped. Wow. You already had a recoil there. Yeah. 10-cent recoil. Now it's bigger. 20 cents, 18 cents, 20 cents. Look at the market maker, because that's what you'll get for sure. Look at that. So that is enough times now to go lower share size and, in my opinion, and go short in here. And then if you're wrong, wait for it to get up closer to 255 before you scale into your full 100 shares. And then you would be, you'd be like at 54.80, right at the magnet level, which is a great level to be at, holding, waiting for a rebound, a recoil. It's kind of the way I would read this, but I'm going to call it a morning for now, and I'm not sure I'll be back in the afternoon. I'll try, but if I'm not, I'll see you guys Monday morning, okay? So be careful, go green out there, and follow your plan and your style. Don't jump all over the place.